how to complete this assignment. First off, once you open it, save it. Save it to your Google Drive. So we're going to come in here and say File Save As. On the computer, find the location that you want to save this to, right? And then give it a name. Call this color assignment. Great. And then we're going to throw it right there. Click Save. Click OK. All right, wonderful. Then every once in a while, of course, save it again. File save. First thing we're going to do is put the elements of color, the 3 elements of color, name and definition. So all you have to do is come in here and we double click. If it gives you this, we're just going to click OK. Yeah, we understand. All right. Okay, make sure our cursor is in the right place. And then we have 3 elements. Right. First one is going to be hue, and then you'll find the definition for that. And saturation. All right. And then value. So it's up to you to find the definition to these terms and then type them in. All right. So first part pretty easy. All right. Now I'm going to get my selection tool and I'm going to do the next part. Color scheme, sample from the color wheel. You might have to look these up on the internet to kind of see what they are, right? But if we remember when we watched the little video here in this assignment, it kind of told us where we would find the primary and secondary and the triad and what complementary colors are and the last one. So what you have to come in here and do is you got to use a couple of different tools in Illustrator. First one, the selection tool, right, the black arrow. The next one is the eyedropper. Okay, so the eyedropper. So we'll be using those 2. So, and when you hover over that, right, it tells us what it does. Oop, there it goes. Thank you. Yep, great, wonderful. All right, so I'm going to go with my primary first, right? Red, yellow, blue. So I'm going to look at the color wheel here, and I'm going to sample from this color wheel. So if I look here, I've got that wedge and then this wedge. So that's going to be the red. So I'm going to get I select the wedge that I want, then I get my eyedropper. I sample the color, it throws it in. I get my selection tool again. I'm going to go to where the blue is. So that should be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 right there. Okay. And then I'm going to get my eyedropper and I'll sample that one. Selection tool, the yellow, eyedropper, right? So you just continue that on and make these look like what they're supposed to using that color wheel to sample, okay? Now, so secondary, right, we're going to be looking at in between the primary. So just for this one, just kind of show you how it is, right? We got our purple, violet, so purple in between. We're going to look in between here. I've got my green. Notice where that wedge is. So selection tool, eyedropper, selection tool, eyedropper, and then in between I've got the orange, right, equal area. Wonderful. All right. So go through and you complete those. Now the next section, variations of color, we're going to sample one of these colors, okay, based off your favorite color of these, and then we are going to show the different variations. So first off, I'm going to sample this, right? So I'm going to say maybe my favorite is this green, all right? My favorite color is green. Great, wonderful. All right. Now, a tint, okay? A tint is when we're going to add white to it, right? And tint it, shade black. So there's easy ways to do that. First off, I'm going to sample this right here. It's my favorite color. It's kind of always my go-to. And now I'm going to adjust the tint. Now a tint is easily done over here, right, on our color guide. And you can see this is the color I've selected, and it's going to show me different shades of that color and different tints, right? So lighter, darker. So I'm just going to select one of the tints. And when I do that, okay, it should apply it. Wonderful. So let's do shade. Sample my favorite color first. Then I'm going to choose a shade. Okay, I'll go a little darker maybe. Great. Now gradient. Okay. Gradient, we're going to apply the gradient here. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say, yeah, I want a gradient. And you can do either linear or radial, it doesn't matter. Okay. And I'm going to change the gradient slider here. Okay. So if I choose this one, right, and then I grab the eyedropper right here. Okay, so I chose that color, get the color picker, and I'm going to try to just click my favorite color. And you see how that adds that in there to the actual gradient. So now I can see that I'm going from one color to the next, and I'm just using white to my favorite. Okay, back to my selection tool. Now opacity, we're going to sample it first. Opacity is the ability to allow light to shine through or block light, okay, whichever way you want to look at it. And our opacity is right here. We can adjust the opacity right here. So just on this slider, we can come in here and make this a little bit lighter. Now, the opacity and tint look pretty much the same, but there is a big difference, right? One is adding the white, right? The opacity is the ability for light to shine through. So what we have here, just so you can see what we've got going, I'm going to sample a different color, right? If I take something like this object, right, and I put it behind, all right, you see the difference here between our tint and opacity? Our tint is still a solid, right, value. The opacity has that transparency to it. Okay, so big difference there. All right, now let's look at color modes. There are two different color modes. One for screen, which is RGB. The other is print, CMYK. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to select each of these and then apply that color. So for screen, RGB. Okay. We should be able to select this with our selection tool and come to our swatches panel and find the value for RGB. Okay. Now, this is going to maybe show CMYK red, CMYK blue, okay, and CMYK green. That's fine. Okay. So we're going to say RGB, so select them, R, red, green, and then blue. This will work. All right, I'll be able to see that you've done that. Now print, CMYK, where the first color mode RGB is using light, okay, to generate that. Our print, these are transparent colors, and when they lay over the top of each other, we get a full color image in print. So CMYK is a little bit different. Cyan, magenta, yellow, black. Now the K is black. K actually stands for the key color, right? It's not because B was used for RGB, because print was around a lot longer than electronics. That's kind of silly. K is the key color, which happens to be black, which allows us to get this full color print. So we're going to go cyan. So RGB cyan, magenta, right? We should have magenta, yellow, and black. And notice we can just hover over these, all right? Beautiful. We got the color modes, okay? Now, color relationships. You're going to go to color.adobe.com to create these color themes, right? So I'm going to show you how to do that. And what we want this to do is, if we come over here to the right in our libraries, okay? And you might have to come into your libraries and you might have to click on it so that it updates, All right, we'll see if mine's going to update here. There it starts to go. Great. All right. And it's always a good idea to create a new library and then name it. So what I've done is I've created one here. Okay, I'll just go into this guy, and I've created this color themes. So all you do is you click here, you give it a name, and it's going to show it there, right? So when we go to color.adobe.com, so let's do that. Let's go to that. All right, so here we are. It's telling us about Adobe Express. Wonderful, thank you, sir. All right, you'll have to make sure you're logged in. We're going to come up here to the create. Now, while we're here, the first one we want to create is a triad. So while we're in this mode, we're going to choose triad. Then you can move these sliders around where you want them. Okay, however it is, you can just move them around. It's going to show what it looks like here. We're going to save to your library, but I'm going to save to color themes because that's the folder, and then give it the right name. This is your triad. So I'm going to call it triad. I'm going to click save. All right, that should update your library, and you'll do this for each one. All right. So now when I go in here and I go into my color themes library and I hover over, there's my triad. So it's as simple as this. I come in, I choose a square, I click a color. I choose a square, click a color. Choose a square, right? And so on and so forth. And then you create the other ones, apply those the same way. Make sure you have everything saved and completed, and then save a copy as a PDF and then submit it.